So you're tired of looking like a stick bug. Wish you had chest that made the girls turn around when you walk by. Want to look like Zoro from One Piece, both arms and chest popping out bigger than any girls you've ever seen. Today I'm going to show you exactly how you can get your chest like that and your arms like that. So stay tuned. For starters, research suggests that incline bench press grows your lower chest and middle chest just as well as regular bench press, but significantly improves your top chest. So you're gonna incline your bench to around a 45-degree angle. If yours is like mine, that it's just got different notches, it's like one down from all the way to the top, or two down because you don't want it at the 90-degree angle. And you're gonna get the seat as high as it can go as well, so that when you are in that state, you don't slide off the seat. This is gonna hold you in place. Before we actually get to the working sets and warm-ups and whatnot, we're gonna wanna stretch to make sure we don't get injured. So you can grab any broom, any stick, anything like that. Go as wide as you have to with your hands. And you're just gonna circle it behind your back. This is gonna give a great pec and shoulder stretch. And the more you do it, the closer that you can go in with your hands, and the more intense that stretch is going to be on your chest. You just got to do a couple reps of that, and you can let go. You can also stretch your triceps by pulling them over your back and pulling them back. You can do shoulder rotations if you want, or arm rotations, whatever you want to call these. And lastly, I like warming up my lats because they get squished a little bit when I do bench press. For that, you can just grab onto a pull your hips back, and then bend one of your knees and push your body to the opposite side of the knee that you're bending. Actually, that's my fault. You push it to the side of the knee bending. And that's going to stretch one lat at a time. So you got to move to the other side. And you're done stretching. Now, some of you are going to say, but Yuldi, incline bench press is harder. I don't want to do it because it's too hard. Well, if you want your chest looking like Andrew Tate, looks more like you got fat titties from being that one obese kid in middle school, then you can go for that. You know, if that's the look you want, you can go for it. A lot of people like how Andrew Tate looks, but that's not what we're gonna do. We're gonna get that nice roundness of the chest going, like an incline bench press. So now I'm gonna show you guys the correct form on how to do it. So when you sit down and lay all the way back, you're gonna want to pinch your shoulders together, like if you were trying to touch a finger in between your shoulders. That's going to create an arch. You're going to want to scoop that out a little bit, because otherwise your back is going to have a lot of weight on it from the barbell, and it's going to start squishing down. Pull down your shoulders, grab slightly wider than shoulder width, and just unwrap it. When you go down, start going lower on your chest. Push up with your legs. And like I always say, go down nice and slow and go up fast. When you go up, make sure to really push with your chest to get that nice contraction. And always start with lightweight to warm up. So just to show you guys a little bit better what your bar path should be looking like and your back was on the bench. Again, you're going to lay down, pinch your shoulder blades together at the bottom, Grab the bar, slightly wider than shoulder width, and push your back towards the bench. When you go down, you're gonna go lowering your chest towards your nipples, and when you go up, you're gonna go almost to your original position. So your arms should be straight with your shoulders. Now, something I really recommend that you do is write down how many sets, how much weight, and how many reps you did. Like as you might be able to see here, I don't know if the phone flips it or something like that. I write it down on sheets, and you might be able to see here last time I only managed to do 5 reps on my first set, 6 reps on my second set, and 5 reps on my third set of bench press with 135 pounds. So today we're going to load up the same weight and we're going to try and go higher on reps. Once again, this is the last time I'm going to repeat it. You're going to pinch your shoulders together, squish down on the bar, go slightly wider than shoulder width apart, pull down your shoulders, and go lower on your chest when you go down. Alright, looks like I managed to go 1 rep from last week. I highly doubt I would have been able to do another one there because I would have had to fight hard for that. Alrighty, it has been 3 minutes. We are gonna move on to our second working set. Last week I did 6 reps on this one. So I'm gonna try and either get 6 again or 7. Alright, I'm gonna go all the way to failure. I'm gonna go down again and see if I can get it back up. And I can't. That's truly what going out to failure looks like. So, a lot of people are scared of doing that because, you can't get the weight back up. It's gonna be on you, but all you gotta do is sit up, man. It's not that big a deal. Then all you gotta do is stand up. You can place it on the bar. I keep saying bar instead of bench. I'm hoping to at least get 5 reps again, but I'm really gonna be shooting for 6. So I'm probably gonna have to lift the weight off of me again. But that's completely fine. Now, I think I should mention is I was taking my butt off the bench a lot last set. You should try and not do that as much as possible. I was just pushing up with my legs so much that it happened, but you really don't want your butt to come off the bench. All right. Looks like I couldn't even get 5 this time. At least I guess to show you guys the technique on how to escape being stuck under there twice, so you can get it right when you have to do it. Now, not every time that we do a second session we're going to get stronger. Sometimes we're going to be a little bit weaker. This time, if you had all the reps that I did in that other session, I went down 1 rep. That could be for numerous reasons. Just fatigue, the muscle didn't heal enough in between sessions, or maybe another muscle is inhibiting you from doing as well as you should have. In my case, it could very well be that my back is sore from having been boxing yesterday. So my back is a little bit sore, and you do use your lats a little bit to push the weight up. So you don't have to be ashamed if you don't get stronger from session to session. That is exactly why we write down the numbers, to know exactly what we did and to know if we went up or down, because then you can adjust accordingly. Maybe you need another rest day. Maybe you did an exercise in between that screwed you over and you didn't manage to heal enough because of that. Maybe you gotta eat more. Maybe you didn't get enough sleep. But you will not remember from session to session how many reps you did exactly if you don't write them down. And you won't be able to take that into consideration. Moving on to the 2 working sets of pec deck. And yes, I'm only gonna do 2. Like that, I get a total of 10 sets of chest weekly, which might be too much volume. Maybe that's why I didn't go up in reps. On my first set, I did 17 reps, and on my second, I did 13 reps on pec deck. I'm only using 100 pounds. I want to go lighter than I did on bench press because it's a finisher. So I just like going lighter on it. Now you might have noticed towards the end there I was only capable of doing half reps, but they were the stretch portion of the exercise, so I still count those as reps. And man, do they hurt. Tell you guys is if you bend forward even more, you're gonna use more of your upper chest, and if you actually slide back like this and put your arms a little bit lower, you're gonna use more of your lower chest. So if you wanna target one of those 2 specifically, more so than just doing it with a flatter back, then you can. All right. Our goal is at least 14 reps. All right, managed to get that extra rep. We might have further going up on the bench press, but we at least went up on pec deck. You're going to be doing cable curls sitting down. You can do them standing up. I do them sitting down because I just want to focus on the bicep. I don't want to have to worry too much about my stance. These do have a different name, like Bulgarian curl or something like that, but I'm not sure. So I just call them cable curl. This is going to work out your outside part of the bicep, which I believe is the long head of the bicep. I get them confused pretty often, but I'm pretty sure the inner part of the bicep is the short head, and this one is the long head. So when you let your arm fall back, let your shoulder not be parallel with your body. You want it further back. And then I like leaning away from my arm just to get it even more stretched. I'm doing this with 15 pounds. I don't like going too heavy on curls so that I can feel a more intense burn on it. I find that my biceps react very well to that form of training. You want to go very slow, controlled back. Don't go all the way down with your arm. Don't go on a full stretch, because then you're going to lose all the tension. Crank out a couple of half reps if you can. And trust me, the burn is going to be insane. Sadly, my setup does not have dual cables, so I do have to switch from one side to the other rather than being able to do both arms at the same time. It's kind of annoying. It would be a lot better if I could just do both arms at the same time, but we got to do what we got to do with what the road gives us, and this is what the road gave me. I don't have the money nor the time right now to be going to a gym. So instead, I have this little home gym that took me a couple of years to make, and it's got everything I need. Just because it takes a little bit more time doesn't mean it's not going to give me the same results. Alrighty, so I just fact checked myself to make sure I was not giving any wrong information. The correct name for this exercise is Bayesian curl. I could be butchering the pronunciation, but that's the name of it. And this does in fact work out the long head, which is the outer head of the bicep. So now that you can see better what I'm talking about, this is the angle you want to have your arm in. You just put your body away from your arm. And when you go down, you don't want to go all the way down. You want to stop slightly short. And like that, you're going to keep the tension on your bicep throughout the whole movement. This is going to create the nice peak of the bicep that you can see from the rear when you're doing a back bicep pose. And well, you can also see the bump in the front. But this is the part of the bicep that you see from the back. Working on the front head isn't really going to do much for your back poses. Obviously, you want to do it because of the front poses. We are going to want to be doing, well, we are going to be doing 3 sets of this exercise, and then we are going to move to the other bicep exercise for the front head, the shorter head of the bicep. And for that one, I'm going to be doing 2 sets because even though this one doesn't prioritize the short head, it will still be tiring it out. For the next exercise, we're going to be doing preacher curls. Now, something that works very well for me, might not for you, but something you may want to try, is instead of putting my arm straight, I like putting it to the side more. Why? Because it stretches this part for me a lot better, and that's the part that we're going to be working on with the preacher curl. You want to go down very slow, and you don't want to actually go on a full contraction when doing preacher curl because you're going to lose all the tension. You're going to want to pull your body away from the bench. Make sure that your armpit is directly on this part. Now, you might be wondering, why does one part of the bicep work with one exercise and the other one better for the other? So the reason for that is the short head of the bicep works better with your arm in front of your body, where the long part of the bicep works better when it is behind the body, stretched out completely. So the preacher curls are basically the king of working out your short head. Now I will be showing an exercise that is a good alternative to do if you don't want to be doing preacher curls, because a lot of people are scared that they're going to tear off their bicep, and you really don't have to be. As long as you go light and don't ego lift and you control the weight down and up and don't do anything crazy, this exercise will blow up your arms, trust me. I used to have a friend that the only bicep exercise he did was preacher curls. And his biceps were massive, way bigger than mine, because I was only doing the seated cable curls. So I was never really working out this part of the bicep until recently. And it's only then that I started researching about different bicep exercises and found out about the different functions of the bicep head. Or not really functions, but more so where you can place them to work them out better. So like I said, I just do 2 sets for those. So I'll be showing you on my second set the alternative that you can do. Technically, as long as you keep your arms in front of you, you can really do any exercise to target the short head of the bicep. So technically, you can do it with dumbbells. And that's the cool thing about working on your muscles. You don't really need any special equipment. You just need to know the positions to do it in. If you want to work out the long head of your bicep, just sit on the bench with it angled slightly backwards, let your arms fall behind you, and you will be working out the longer part of your bicep. Now, I am going to be doing this with cables so that I can have more tension on the way down and on the way up. That's why I like cables so much, because of that constant tension they give. So to do this exercise, you're gonna need something that's long, so that you can grab it with both your arms, and you're gonna want to keep your elbows close to your side. So you're gonna grab the bar at shoulder width. You're just gonna bend slightly forward, let your arms come in front of you, and this is where you're gonna curl it. And you can back away or get closer to the cable, depending on where you're gonna get that most tension at. And this is going to be a really, really good exercise for growing that short head as well. All right, so moving on to triceps. I'm gonna work them out in the same format that we did biceps. I'm gonna do 3 sets of this exercise, and we're gonna do 2 sets of the other exercise. So we're gonna start with single arm extensions. If you have the equipment to do it with 2 arms, you definitely can. My rope is not long enough to allow me to do 2 arms in the way that we're gonna do it. So that's why I only do it with 1. So what you're gonna want is to extend your arm behind your body, and you're gonna want to keep your arm at a 30-degree angle out from your torso. Now, if you're capable of going all the way up for the stretch, that's way better. I can't do that with this arm because I have like a golf elbow sort of thing going on. Now, why are we gonna do 2 different tricep exercises? Pretty much for the same reason that we did 2 different bicep exercises. When you're doing tricep extensions with your arms behind you, you're going to be targeting the longer head of your tricep, or the short head. I'll search that up as well, so I can fact check myself on the second set. But basically, the inner part of your arm, the part that shows forward when you do a double bicep, is going to be worked out more in this position. Whereas the more bumpy, shorter part that you see when I push my arm down like that, actually you don't because it's pretty small. That part will work better in front of your body in a slightly different angle. So that's why we're going to split it up into 2 different exercises. And the part that I was talking about was this part right here, but it's so bright you can't even see it. This part. This we're going to work out with a different exercise. And this one down here is the one that we mainly work out with this one. Alright, so I wanted to give you guys another angle at this tricep exercise. So you can see the angle I was telling you about with your arm. This is what I mean by a 30-degree angle. You want to keep your tricep, or more so your arm, in this angle when you do the exercise. All right, so the second exercise that we're going to do for our triceps, and this one's going to work out the 2 shorter heads of the tricep, which is this one and this one down here. We are going to be doing skull crushers. So for skull crushers, you want to lay down flat in the bench. I like leaving my head off of it, because otherwise I feel like my arms hit the bench when I go all the way down. You're going to grab the bar at shoulder width, so keep your elbows touching your chest in width anyway. When you go up, you're going to let your arms come forward to around your head. You're going to let the bar fall all the way down until you feel that you're about to lose the tension. So you're going to stop right before then. And then you're basically just going to curl the bar up again. I like not contracting fully because I feel like I lose tension as well when I do that. The hardest part of this exercise is keeping your triceps in the right position. The more tired you get, the more that your arm starts pivoting more forward, so it doesn't have as much of a stretch. So you really got to fight to keep them around here. So you bring your elbows to around your head. If not, you extend them a little bit more. The more stretch, the better. And that's where you're going to try and keep your triceps the whole exercise. And you want to keep a really close grip on that bar. All right, forearms. We're in total going to do 4 different exercises, but it's really just going to be 2 different supersets, I guess you could call them. So you're gonna want to put your arms all the way down like this, almost like if you're doing a preacher curl. You're gonna want to let your wrist fall down and extend your fingers. This is gonna work out the part of my forearm that I'm showing you, and it is also gonna work out your finger extenders, which you mostly see on the opposite side of the forearm when you move around your fingers. If you have a thicker dumbbell handle like the one on my left hand, it's a little bit better. It's a little awkward when you have a skinnier dumbbell handle, but it won't really affect the exercise. It just feels a little bit better. So after you're done with that one, you're just gonna flip your arms around, get in the same exact position pretty much, and you're just gonna flick your wrists up. And this is gonna work out that top part of the forearm. Trust me, you'll feel the burn when you start doing it. I don't have to explain too much which part of the forearm it works out. We're gonna do 2 sets of those. I'm not gonna show both sets, I'll just show that one. And then we're gonna do another exercise that is gonna work out this nice meaty part of the forearm right here, and this part right here. All right, this next forearm exercise, superset that we're gonna do is pretty simple in theory, but it's kind of hard for me to explain, so it's better if I just show you guys. So with one of your hands facing upwards, you're just gonna twist your forearm towards you to pull up the weight. I should mention that the wider grip you have, the more difficult that the exercise will become. Now, when you go to the other side, your forearm, your arm is your hand. Your hand is going to be pointing down, and you're just going to twist it to the other side. And you're going to do the same exact thing with your other hand. I did 2 sets of those as well. You can do just one if you want to. And what I mean earlier on that other exercise, by the finger extenders, is basically the tendons that you see moving around right there when I move my fingers. That's the muscle that you work out when you let your fingers fall down on that forearm curl that you're doing. Today's video is going to be pretty long. The session is going to be pretty long for me as well, because there are a lot of arm exercises, and I'm also going to be doing shoulders. So sorry about the length of the video. Today was supposed to be chest and back, but since I ended up being pretty sore from boxing, back-wise, decided to do arms and chest and shoulder instead, but that doesn't make it very long, as you can imagine. So, if you know anything about the arm anatomy, you might notice that we're still missing one muscle to work out, and that is the brachialis. The brachialis isn't a super important bicep muscle because you don't really see it until it's really big. It is going to be in between your bicep and your tricep right here is where you're gonna be able to see it. And the reason why is because it is actually under your bicep and just pokes out slightly through the side. However, it does have a very cool and important uh, thing that it adds to your build when it's big enough, and that's that it pushes your bicep out even more. So if your biceps are really small and you're like, why are my biceps so small even though I've been training them so much? It might be because you're skipping the brachialis, and that's gonna puff it up more. So the exercise that I like to do for that is reverse grip curls with a bar. So I'm gonna keep my elbows touching my ribs, and with my hands pointing down, I'm gonna grab the bar, I'm gonna bend slightly forward, bend my knees a little bit so I don't lose balance, and then we're just gonna curl it. The reason why I do reverse grip is because it helps take the bicep out of the equation and focus more on that brachialis. All right, to finish off the video, we're gonna be doing our 3 different shoulder exercises, which is gonna be front shoulder, front delt, side delt, and rear delt. So for some of you, you're not gonna have to work out your front shoulders because they're already gonna grow pretty well from doing the incline bench press. Mine's don't. I do find that I need to give them a bit of extra attention, so this is what I do for them. So you're gonna grab a cable, you're gonna curl your body to that side a little bit and forward. You're just gonna jab your arm forward as fast as you can and let it fall all the way down nice and slowly. You don't want to curl this, so don't bend your elbow. Keep your arm as stiff as possible. You can bend your elbow a little bit if you feel too much tension in your biceps, but you will then have to keep it at that position. You can't change the position after that, because otherwise you're just going to be doing the exercise with your biceps and your brachialis rather than your shoulder. If you don't have cables, you can actually replace that exercise by leaning back on a surface and not letting your arms go parallel, just keeping them slightly up and going straight horizontal with your chest. And that will also work out the front head just great. You might need a rope attachment if your cables don't move forward enough from the machine. And what you're going to want to do is while sitting, not sitting, while standing sideways to the cable, extend your arm fully. Make sure that there's a nice stretch coming across, and you're just gonna pull it down across from you like this. You can even move your body slightly away from it to increase the stretch even more. Maybe even bend with it so you can follow the trajectory of the cable better. In most gyms, you won't have to go through this much trouble with the equipment. Unfortunately, I do with my equipment because, as you can see, it's hitting the wheel up there. And trust me, the stretch that you're gonna get on that exercise on your rear delt is insane. If that doesn't get your rear delts growing, I don't know what will. There are other exercises that you can try out, but I don't think there's any exercise quite like this one when it comes to the rear delt. One thing you definitely don't want to do is let the tension go away by letting your shoulder go too far back. And definitely crank out as many half reps as you feel you can. All right, moving on to side delts. I have a problem with my left shoulder where my shoulder is slightly higher than on my right shoulder. And that gives me a lot of trap activation on my left side when doing side delt races. So I had to tweak my form a lot to make it so that wouldn't happen. So if you have that problem, this is what I did to fix it. You're gonna pull out your lats, like if you were doing a lat spread, bend forward slightly, rotate your forearms towards you, and instead of going fully to the side, you're gonna go slightly forward. Keeping your lats spread out is going to make it so that you can't activate your traps, because you can't activate your traps and your lats at the same time. Rotating your forearms in the way that I did is going to make it so that your side delt is rotated more forward so that you can do it in a more forward motion, and that's also going to help disengage your traps. So to show you what that looks like from the side, you pull out your lats, rotate your forearms in a little bit, bend your elbow slightly, and instead of going straight to the side like that, you're gonna go slightly forward like this. Trust me that it's a whole different game when you disengage your traps, because it becomes solely your side delt that's going to be doing the movement. Alrighty guys, this is what the post-workout pump looks like. As you can see, I still have a long way to go, especially on my triceps. You cannot really see the long head at all from here, and the short head is pretty small. The front head on my shoulders isn't really all that big either. My rear delt, I feel like you can see pretty freaking well, so I'm pretty happy with that. But you can't really see too much of a peak with the bicep. It's basically not there, so I do have to work on that a lot more. And my arm looks really skinny down here, so I definitely got to work on my triceps a lot more. My chest, I feel like it's at a pretty good spot right now. Once I finally go on the cut, it should look pretty gnarly, but I could definitely get it even rounder up here and coming up from the bottom more. Even here in the middle, I could grow that part out more so you can see that line between it. But it's mainly gonna come in when I go on the cut. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys on the next one, which will be just back then, since I already worked out my arms and shoulders today.